cult-like mindset wants to shield you and protect you from any outside influence, any secular influence, because then they can control the narrative and tell you what's right and wrong in the world. And if you get to experience the outside, then you can see the truth for what it is and understand that all they want to do is control the narrative and control you. And we talk about this in Drop the Stones this week when we're talking about the war on culture. And it reminded me of something when I was little. When I was little, I grew up in Nebraska, and big football family, and we loved football, and we were actually pretty good back then. But when I was small, we only got 2 or 3 games on TV, and every team was this way. All the good teams only got a couple of games a year on TV, so you had limited exposure to all of the teams in college football. And what that led to was we relied on other people to tell us and inform us what these other teams were going to play were like. So it was our local reporters and all these people that had biases that wanted to sell papers and have people tune into their channels, so they always talked our team up and would say, this isn't a thing. And it always came to fruition at the end of the year, especially late in the 80s, when we'd get our asses handed to us by some other team who we thought we were going to handle pretty easily because everyone talked them up like this. All our information was based on what others were telling us. And nowadays, everyone's on TV. It kind of evolved into this thing where every team is on TV every week. Every game is televised. So people like my son that are younger and they're in football know about all these teams, and they can tell you about matchups and what's going to be trouble and what's going to be a struggle, and you know what you're getting into, and you have more of a realistic look on it. And I see this as kind of how the church is trying to control everything. They don't want teams on TV because then they can control the narrative and tell you this is sinful behavior. Fear this out here. Don't go look into the secular world. That's where all the danger is at. I saw something with a preacher the other day talking about heavy metal music and this death metal music, and that people are in there and they're getting unalived at these concerts. It's simply not true. There's no facts basing this, that this is what's causing it. But he's saying this is where it happens when you have satanic influence in music and let Satan in. Satan's going to do his things. It's all made up bullshit to control the narrative and put fear into people to not experience the outside world. But why would they want not that? Reminds me of another story of a young lady I knew that was hanging out with a bunch of LGBTQ people. And her pastor came up to her and said, you need to stop hanging out with these people because that is not a proper representation of a Christian in this world. And tried to shame her and convince her to stop and break up with her friend group. The simple truth is that he realized that by her hanging out with all these LGBTQ folks, it humanized them. It made them out to be actual people. And it's tough to convict and put sin and shame on someone when you know them and humanize them. And it's tough to judge them when you can have empathy for them because you know them. And that's what they're trying to control. They don't want you to experience the world. They don't want you to come alongside LGBTQ people. They don't want you to come alongside immigrants or anything like this because it's easier to judge them when they're telling you how much harm and damage they're doing to our environment, how they're destroying marriages, how they're coming after children, how they're causing all sorts of assaults if you're the immigrants, and even the LGBTQ, because they like to make up stories to promote fear, because fear controls. And if they can keep pushing this fear, they can keep persecuting these people. And that causes you to look at that instead and worry about that instead of looking at them. It's true narcissistic behavior. Don't look at us and what we're doing. Focus on what everyone else is doing. I had a narcissist one time tell me, I can't worry about what I'm doing because I'm too busy worried about what everyone else is doing. They want to focus on everyone else and no one looking at them. And that's what religious mindset does. They want to see evil in everything else, project their own evil and their wrongdoing on everyone else so that people will focus on that instead of looking at what treachery they're doing behind the scenes.